Greetings, everyone. Welcome
Greetings.
back. I'm glad that you all had a little break last week and hope everyone had a fun time for Father's Day. Got to
Fun,
spend some
fun. Oh,
quality time with your kids or with your fathers. Amnon had a little time with his family, and that seemed to go well. Yes, Amnon?
Yes, it was great.
Awesome. And I hear your daughter cooked for you.
Yes, she did.
Was it good?
Good.
Nice job.
Yep.
So good job to his daughter for cooking a scrumptious dinner.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it was kind of nice to have a little break. And we're coming back, and I had that week to just, like I always do, observe. And that is like the word. Today I was teaching my yoga teacher training, and one of my students said, she was talking about being at a family like reunion situation and how it's interesting to get everyone to feel like they're all getting to do what they want and without any tension because everybody's trying to make everybody happy. And so we were talking about that, and she was like, yeah, it was really interesting to observe. And I laughed because I'm like, I say that all the time. And life is very interesting to observe, yeah? We learn so much just from observing. So some big things happened while we were away. Since last time I was on here live, our Congress apparently decided to come into alignment on some things. So woohoo for our country. That was pretty awesome sign from my perspective of seeing how much so many are working towards equality and just aligned living. And that was a pretty big, huge leap for our government, I would say. What do you think, Amnon?
I don't know that was our government that did it. It was the courts. If you're talking about
like Congress, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider. I mean, that's the judicial. I don't consider them part of the government. It's the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I guess I lump that into government.
Yeah.
Like court systems and all that. But what do you feel about that choice and that shift, personally? See, I'm getting you involved in the discussion today.
I mean, it's fine. It's about time. I mean, and you're talking about the gay marriage.
Yeah, like marriage equality for
marriage.
Anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time that this happened.
Indeed.
It's been going around the world forever and ever. I mean, we're coming here at the end, kind of like, okay, we're gonna go through the finish line now. No, yeah. I mean, come on, this is nothing.
It's like about time.
Yeah, it is about time, and it's like it was ridiculous. It's on and off, and on and off, and on and off, and in North Carolina, it's really bad.
Yeah,
because it's by law you can get married, but when you go to the magistrate to get the license or for them to marry you, I mean, when you get married in the church, that's nothing. This is just ceremony. The real marriage is happening when you go to the magistrate. Yeah. They can refuse you if it goes against their personal belief. So a magistrate can turn you away and say, no, I'm not going to marry. I'm not going to allow you to. And as far as I know, it's still going on. I'm waiting. I mean, they actually passed a law that says that they can refuse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's not get into the politics now because it's a mess. I mean, yeah. It's in. Let's concentrate on the positive. It's happening, and people can be happier. And people can become whole and call it whatever you want.
Treated equal. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like you're saying, I feel like it's like when kind of like during civil rights when people were resisting that for so long, and in the South they got kind of a bad rap, but there was a lot of people that owned slaves, and they kind of were looking at how that was going to change their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, crap, we can't own people, and those people actually work for me, and without them, I am going to be in trouble because like I can't run this plantation on my own. And so I think it's like a lot of the agenda of how it's going to personally affect people at times. But just like then, they finally got to be on the right side of the fence, or I would call it more the aligned side of the fence, rather than right or wrong, but just an aligned space where this equality for anyone to love who they love and marry who they love, it is about time. And really, it's been something that I feel is the aligned choice from the beginning of time. But we're finally at a place where we're acknowledging that, and people are kind of, okay, I guess it's happening. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of like, I observe people that maybe have a very strong belief system. And in some cases, I've seen some of the news, like I don't watch the news, but I see stuff on Facebook come up and then I'll check into the stories. Like I heard a rumor that some preacher threatened to set himself on fire if the marriage law passed. And then he went back on his word and said, no, I meant like I'm on fire to stop this. And big picture, I feel like everyone eventually is going to get to that place where this is a really big planet and we don't all need to participate in each other's belief systems or each other's way of life. But it will be an amazing choice for each of us to honor each other's path. Like if Amnon wants to marry his wife and maybe she's, a Catholic and he is Hindu and they love each other, like, what is it my business if they get married? Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's been happening on the planet for a long time with religion. It's happened if she's white and he's black. It's now, now if it's a man and a man or a woman and a woman. And big picture, you don't have to be gay. And that's kind of where I feel speaking about it, is that it doesn't mean you're condoning behavior. If you don't think it's cool to have a sexual encounter with the same sex, then don't do it.
Right.
But if somebody else falls in love with someone of the same sex, don't shame them. Don't try to beat them up in the alley or try to, heckle them or degrade them, hold back health benefits from them. I just think that is bullying, and that's not showing honor for life. So that's kind of the way I look at it, is like, if we all come to this place where we honor life, we can honor each other, that's going to benefit all of us on this planet.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty fabulous. And I was just like, oh my God, that just happened. Like, it was just kind of like, wow. And I agree that it's about time, but it was also a little bit of a shock. Like, whoa, go US, like go court systems for actually finally acknowledging that. And I think it's going to, like you said, help people just feel more whole and loved and valued, kind of like, in the 70s, the women's rights movements, and then finally the women are like, finally, I'm going to get hired and not feel like I'm treated way less because I'm a woman. So it's like we've been doing this on the planet with everything, but really, we need to be treating each other with honor, period.
And again, with women's rights, this is something, I mean, the U.S. was not the leader in that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's been going around all around the world. In many countries, the women were equal.
They were leaders.
Yeah. And finally, it happened here.
Yeah.
So, but the saying is better late than never.
Yes. And then there's countries still at this time on this planet that treat women like crap. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it's all happening. But I just felt like, let's acknowledge that, because I was like, yay. That is a sign of alignment happening to me in the collective. So when we're talking about each of our belief systems and how we can be the change, that's how it starts. And that is very important. But when we see enough of us being the change, we see enough of us showing up with honor, with integrity, living authentically, it is paying off globally. We're going to start seeing more and more of the collective consciousness shifting because of our courage to choose that alignment. So I wanted to really acknowledge that, like, yay, that's a sign to me that the collective is shifting in a more aligned direction. So good job. So today, this past week, I was observing a lot as a healer. I just did a Sacred Soul Sister gathering last night. And last week, we had Empowering Empath and these different workshops I do, where when I'm working with my healing clients over the last few weeks, I see this theme that I felt like this is something I really want to touch on, is love. And what does that even really mean? And I'm calling this like the love revolution. And if we could all get into this space of alignment in ourselves where we stop putting off our own need to love ourselves for any other reason, we don't let our work be more important. We don't let our partners be more important. We don't allow our children to be more important. We don't allow, what people think of us to be more important. And we start to really get to this place where we decide we're going to love ourselves no matter what. And so that's in every part of our life, that's going to be important. And last night when I was working with these women in the circle, they were young girls, and we got into this really great discussion about body image and about like what causes their suffering and why they think they're not enough. And they were, kind of sharing with me just the way society is, what they see on TV when they look at beauty magazines. Like, they basically feel like crap after they look at a beauty magazine long enough. And we started to discuss that, like how if we take our own power back and we love ourselves, we don't really need to compete with anyone else. And I observe how, I had a woman recently, and she's like, I really want to come to your gathering, Tanya, and I miss coming, and I miss some of the girls that came before. But I just feel like when we have these like shamanic experiences, they're having these amazing experiences where they're flying around on a dragonfly's back, and it's very magical, and then she has nothing happening. And so she's like, I just feel like, I'm not good at it. And so then she stopped coming. And so I responded to her and I said, if you keep showing up and you stop comparing to others, you'll get out of your own way. So if we come, like when I was talking to the girls last night and they were saying about, their body image, if there's a girl that's really beautiful and they're getting a lot of attention, then in their own brain, they start thinking, oh, I suck, I'm not pretty, no one loves me. And they get that record playing that vibrationally is actually causing them great suffering. And overall, it's not helping them love themselves, and it's not helping them even love the people they're around. And this is where I feel like I kind of called it the wounded girl and then the empowered woman. And there's a big difference. And this goes for men too. Wounded boy, empowered man. And when we're wounded girl or wounded boy, we're competing, we're comparing, we're feeling like we're not enough. We're always looking at what they have and then degrading ourselves. And we play a lot of games. We manipulate, we gossip, we're vengeful, we're jealous. All of those heavy suffering energies are what happens when we're in that wounded girl or wounded boy energy, which in essence is our wounded aspects of ourself, what I call the wounded ego or the shadow self. And it's choosing our choices for us. So here's a woman, she wants to come and she wants to develop her psychic gift. She wants to empower herself, but she shuts herself down because she's not doing it good enough. She's not doing it as good as they're doing it. So then she just drops it all together, which is probably not going to help her develop that strength. It's kind of like, as a personal trainer, I also do the fitness thing, and being a trainer and an instructor for years, I've observed the same thing. People come in, like I've had like guys come to my yoga and they're like, oh, I'm not flexible at all. I suck at this. And I'm like, you know what? You're in the perfect place then. Because if you suck at yoga and you suck at being flexible, what better place to be? Because the whole point of coming to yoga and the whole purpose is to cultivate flexibility. It's to cultivate more self-love. So if your ego is saying you suck, probably a great idea that you're here learning how to love yourself. But we have to see that our egos make our choices sometimes, and then they say, oh, I suck at that, let's go. And now there's no chance that you're going to cultivate flexibility. There's no chance you're going to cultivate that self-love because you just walked away from the very experience that could help you with that. So when we're in that place where we're comparing to others and even comparing to ourselves, we could have been awesome at something, or we look back in the past, like when I was 20, man, I was awesome, but now I suck. And so we're comparing to ourselves, and we have this fantasy of the old self, and we'll create suffering there. Or a lot of younger people I observe, they worry and stress too much about the future, and so they're constantly in anxiety about their future experience, and that takes away from their being able to enjoy the now, the present moment. So we were talking about this self-love experience, and this was the theme. And I'm like, I feel like so much in my life has helped me to really understand this so that I can be a leader and express this truth to everyone, not because of theory or because it just sounds good, but from actual experience and from actual meditation and processing and self-love and clear